Doesn't it feel like you're living on autopilot? Like every day just blends together, or that you have no control of your mind? Maybe you tend to overthink. Maybe you're the type of person to get distracted by your phone. Or you're someone who feels numb and disconnected from everything. Life can feel like a constant struggle for your attention, your money, and your health. No matter what you try, it seems like your mind is constantly reacting to the world around you. And instead of being in control, the world is controlling you. But it's not a lack of willpower or self-discipline. It's that you don't know how your brain works. You take its construction for granted. You think your mind is a house. One that's made of conclusions, facts, and feelings that you built yourself. But our minds go deeper than what we can see on the outside. And all of the internal structures are really what make it work. And once you learn all of its parts, you'll see just what I mean. It's not some magic solution. It's basic neuroscience, alongside some mindfulness practices. Before we start, you might have heard that there are 3 parts to your brain. The reptilian side, that makes us crave things, the limbic side, that helps us feel things, and the neocortex, that helps us think. But it's a bit more complicated than that. This system is known as the triune mind, and it separates our brain into a hierarchy. It makes the claim that, as humans evolved, we developed 3 individual systems to combat the environment and problems we had to face. But this is an oversimplification, as it implies that only specific parts of our brain are active at one time when there's frequent overlap between regions. It doesn't explain how mental illness occurs, nor does it explain how other animals have shown signs of higher levels of intelligence. Overall, it's not the best explanation to give people about how our minds work, even though admittedly, splitting up into 3 tiers is more memorable. As it turns out, our brains are much more sophisticated. So instead of going into the nitty-gritty and explaining each of the parts in boring detail, I'm going to keep things as simple as possible. So our brains don't work in tiers. It's more like a web of interconnected sections involved in different processes. Think of a car. Is a car the engine? Is it the tires? Is it the electronics inside? Yes and no. It's all of these things all at once, and our brains work the same way. Now, depending on where you read about it, the number can vary, but for the sake of this video, let's list 7 of them. The first is the dreamer, or the default mode network. This is your brain's screensaver, your inner monologue, and it's the one that gets caught up in your memories and thinking about your future. Basically, if it has to do with your imagination or mind wandering, that occurs here. So to all the creatives, the dreamer is your best friend. This part of our brain turns on when we're idle and not particularly focused on any task. So when your mind wanders and thinks, did I forget to lock my front door this morning? That's the dreamer. But it's also where our rumination and anxious thoughts occur. Considering how often we use technology, we don't really let the dreamer have extended periods of idle time without stimulation. We wake up, we turn off our alarm, we check social media, etc. The idea of being alone with one's thoughts is a common joke. The Sunday scaries, that sort of thing. As with any of the brain regions, there are positive and negatives that occur with them from over or under activation. For the dreamer, overactivation is how we get anxiety and excess negative thoughts. And if you have an underactive dreamer, you have low self-awareness and poor self-reflection. However, it's not the end of the world if there's an imbalance in any of these systems, as there are different therapies, pharmaceuticals, spiritual practices, and lifestyle changes that you can take to better improve your brain regions. So if your dreamer is imbalanced, I recommend nature walks and experiencing awe. Give yourself the opportunity to get out of your own head. For the creatives that get stuck in the worlds they make in their minds, they seem to forget that the world around them is a beautiful thing. There are sights to behold when surrounded by trees in a forest. There's a lovely view to see when overlooking a large body of water. And there are plenty of small creatures to watch live their lives on the dirt below our feet. The second region is the trendsetter, or the salience network. This is the alarm bell that goes off in your brain when you need to prioritize things. It's the part that tells you when you're hungry, the part that panics because an assignment is due, and the part that alerts the body when you're in pain. So when the dreamer is off mindlessly thinking of random events, the trendsetter brings the mind back to the point of focus. It's like a seesaw relationship. When one is activated, the other is suppressed. And this is a fundamental component of meditation. When the trendsetter refocuses the mind, that's like a mental push-up. And just like with regular push-ups, the more you do them, the stronger you get, and the stronger your mind gets at becoming more centered. When the trendsetter isn't balanced, this can manifest as anxiety or general apathy. Either everything around you seems important, or literally nothing does. As this is the case, exposure therapy is an option to mitigate imbalances. Is it scary talking to people in public? That's because the trendsetter takes your fear and inexperience and turns them into anxiety. Familiarity not only gives you less worries, but it gives you something to care about because that's how we're made. We need priorities to live a full life. The third region is the leader, or the central executive network. This is the CEO, or the boss that chooses what we do, from our food at the grocery store to which careers we dedicate ourselves to. It's where our planning and execution takes place. However, this doesn't mean that those decisions it makes will be the ones that we actually want to do. The leader can be hijacked by distractions and be drawn to tasks that waste your time, like scrolling on your phone or staying up all night playing video games. Just because the leader is in control doesn't mean that the ship will be steered the way you want it. So typically, the trendsetter has to grab the dreamer's mind wandering and get the leader's focus to jump back into a task. If you have ADHD, This is a frequent battle you may be used to. Lack of executive function doesn't mean you're bad at focusing on tasks, you're bad at aiming your hyper attention. That difference matters because you may be the type to spend 10+ hours working on a personal project, but a 10-page reading assignment feels like too much of a commitment. This is because the leader is a creature of habit. It will do whatever you are most used to. If you like spending all day on the couch eating hot fries, that's what it will do in perpetuity, because it is determined that this is safe and comfortable. But as everyone knows, change is difficult. This is why when you watch a morning routine, it can feel so unapproachable. How can my brain possibly handle doing all those tasks in the morning when I have a pile of laundry that remains unfolded and a sink full of dishes from a week and a half ago? To deal with this, you can try habit stacking. Essentially, try combining any desired habit you have with one you already do. So if you always have a cup of coffee in the morning, put on your running shoes immediately after. Getting in the habit of doing that will make the process of going on a run easier. You already have your shoes on, so you might as well go on the run. Instead of making your habits time-bound, they're activity-bound. And even if you wake up a few minutes late, that won't stop you from getting the habit done. So if you're off routine, this establishes a mental order of events to follow along. And what's great about this method is that the more you practice guiding and controlling the leader, the more agency you grant yourself. As a result, most things will become easier to do and get done, because you'll no longer spend nearly as much mental energy in doing tasks that are now habits. And you can redirect that energy towards other things you want to work on, such as emotional regulation. Speaking of which, that's where we have the reactor, or the limbic network. This is where our emotions originate. Happiness, sadness, that sort of thing. Though there are 7 emotional drives that guide our behavior, they all essentially boil down to describing what makes us feel comfortable or uncomfortable, and how we react to those things accordingly. Of course, depending on the person, this can vary to a substantial amount. Emotional regulation is a difficult skill to learn, and many people learn how to cope with negative emotions in unproductive or destructive ways. It's why you see people struggling with addiction or severe mental illness, like those with an overactive reactor having conditions like PTSD, or someone with an underactive having anhedonia, or the inability to experience pleasure. And while yes, there's a biological component to some of these aspects, we can't deny the effects society has on the people living in it. I'm sure you've heard of the loneliness epidemic, and with prices increasing for just about everything, highly engaging and radicalizing content online, and lack of moral and social awareness, we exist in a microcosm of things trying to rob us for all we have and no skills to defend ourselves. We end up isolating from those around us. It's frustrating. For many people, they felt unprepared for the world they were thrust into, so it's no wonder they experienced such disillusion with how society treats them. This was the world I'm supposed to inherit? One that seems inherently doomed? It's truly a debilitating thought. But on a lighter note, there are things within your control. The first is how you react to the information around you. When it gets a rise out of you, you are no longer in control of yourself. You are subject to manipulation. And to regain control, you can try using a mantra. Basically, choose a phrase to repeat to yourself. It can be something like, I am calm, or something nonsensical like pizza. What matters is it's something that you can repeat in a rhythmic way, and it grabs the attention of the dreamer and brings control back to the leader. While the world around us is unstable and uncontrollable, these grounding practices help keep us stable and in control of the reactor, and prevent it from having a meltdown. Moving on. For all our body's movable parts, we have the driver, or the sensorimotor network. This is how you move around through space, how you catch a ball, and how you bust a move on the dance floor. If most of the networks are about interpreting the world internally, the driver is about experiencing the world directly through touch. It's how you hug a good friend you haven't seen in a while, or how you feel rain on your skin. It's the most intimate of our networks because it bonds us, not only physically, but chemically. As you might already be aware, we release the chemical oxytocin when in physical contact with other people. Oxytocin, known as the bonding hormone, drives togetherness. This is why things like hookups or spicy online videos can hurt you and how you bond with others. We live in a world where people seek intimacy without closeness, where we seek to get our pleasures fulfilled without divulging ourselves. To get close to someone, you have to risk them being able to hurt you, whether that's physically or emotionally. But the world is a scary place, and sometimes people do bad things. But that doesn't mean that goodness doesn't exist too. Now, there are those who have an imbalance in the system that can manifest itself as Parkinson's, imbalance, clumsiness, or living in chronic pain. Aside from physical therapy, learning a musical instrument is a great way to improve the system and give you more control of your motor skills, not to mention the other benefits that exist when learning music, which can help the other systems as well. The final two are very closely related. These are the laser and the spacer. The laser, or the ventral attention network, is our controlled focus. It's how we pay attention to what we're reading and how we can scan our environment to know what's important. The spacer, or the dorsal attention network, is our squirrel-like system that is distractible and catches things in our peripherals, such as visuals and background voices. As you can imagine, these work against each other. The laser's job is to sustain focus. Watch your video lecture, read that chapter, or listen to a friend in pain, while the spacer spaces out and wants to watch TikToks or use the time for literally anything else more interesting. It's basically the trendsetter's bestie. These both have effects on those with ADHD and OCD, which is a type of over-focus on things. If your focus remains an issue, you can try reaching flow. Flow is a state of mind that involves full involvement in an activity. During this, the dreamer's self-doubt vanishes, the reactor is suppressed, and the spacer is given a break. And in that mode, The laser has full focus, the leader has total control, and the driver locks in to complete the task you have. Now, how you reach flow depends on your preference. Some people reach it while they paint, others experience it during exercise, and some while they write. The task should be something that offers an appropriate amount of challenge while being something you're skilled enough at to enjoy. This experience gives an individual effortless concentration as the mind becomes sharper and faster. Again, each of these networks has a reason for its existence and all have benefits to us in the world we live. And there are several more ways to improve them than what I listed in this video. Even something as simple as frequent strength training improves essentially all of them. So it's more about finding what you struggle with and what solutions work best for you. But which of these networks do you feel you deal with the most? And do you use any of these methods I suggested? Or do you have your own? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.